with a sincere apology for the late notice of this statement, and thank you all for coming here at such short notice. This is not a speech I was expecting to be giving. David Duguid is a friend and colleague who I've worked well with since we were both elected to the UK Parliament for neighbouring constituencies in 2017. Several weeks ago he developed significant health issues, and he has received outstanding care from the doctors, nurses and NHS professionals, and my whole party sends them our thanks for everything they've done for David and his family, and we all wish David, Rose, Cameron and Peggy all the very best for his continued recovery. David was the first Scottish Conservative to win the Banff-and-Buchan seat at a general election since 1983. He has built a strong and impressive reputation as a champion for fishing and many other issues. He has been an authoritative voice on many of these points. He has worked exceptionally hard for his constituents at both a local level and nationally, serving two Prime Ministers who asked him to join the government. Unfortunately, and with real regret, the Party Management Board concluded that David could not proceed as our candidate for the new seat of Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. And I want to personally thank David for his significant contribution and the contribution I hope he will continue to make with the Scottish Conservatives. Going forward, however, we need a candidate to fight this seat at short notice. Nominations close tomorrow. This is one of many seats we are defending against the SNP, and one we fully intend to win with the support of local voters. Over the last 12 hours, I have thought long and hard about this and considered the options. I've spoken with my wife, my family, colleagues and local members. After boundary changes, this new seat includes parts of my former Moray constituency and indeed some of the council ward I was first elected to serve back in 2007. This constituency will be very competitive, very hard-fought contest and a close contest between the Scottish Conservatives and the SNP. And I have decided I need to lead from the front. So this evening I will put myself forward for nomination as the Scottish Conservative candidate for Aberdeenshire North and Moray East to beat the SNP in this crucial constituency, and I am ready and up for this fight. I fought and beat the SNP Westminster leader Angus Robertson in 2017. In 2021 I stopped the SNP majority when all the polls suggested they had it in the bag. And just last month it was my vote of no confidence that forced Humza Yousaf out of office. I know how to beat the SNP, and I know how important it will be for local voters that we do so. I know the stakes in Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. I know how damaging it would be for constituents, including many that I've already represented as the MP for Moray, to have an SNP MP who only focuses on independence at the expense of all of the issues that really matter to local people. I know the local issues, and I know the action that local people want to see on their doorstep. So I will stand in this seat, and I intend to beat the SNP, just as I've done in the past, so we can get the focus onto the top priorities for local people, such as creating good jobs, reducing NHS waiting lists and fixing the roads. I want the next 5 years to be all about those key issues. But that will only happen if voters back me to defeat the SNP, who would obsess about independence above all of the issues that really matter to people in Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. In this seat, as with many seats across Scotland, it's a straight fight between the Scottish Conservatives and the SNP. I fully expect the SNP to throw absolutely everything they've got at beating me. They'll mobilise teams from the Central Belt to come north to hand out leaflets. John Swinney will pay the area a rare visit. The SNP headquarters in Edinburgh will pour money into Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. But if everyone locally wants to beat the SNP, comes together, I know we can keep the Nationalists out. So this afternoon I'll go to the constituency to seek my party's nomination and start my local campaign. In Aberdeenshire North and Moray East and across Scotland, this election is an opportunity to beat the SNP so we can all get the focus onto the issues that really matter to people up and down the country. The SNP are down, now let's get them out. Vote Scottish Conservative will end the SNP's obsession with independence and focus on the issues that really matter to people. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions. Conor.
You said you're going to fight for the seat to the front. Will you resign as Scottish Tory leader if you lose this seat, given that it will be a judgment on you personally? And also, if you win, will you resign your seat in Holyrood? I'm
not intending to lose the seat. I'm going to go up there and fight extremely hard to continue Conservative representation in that area. The area has been extremely well served by David Duguid. We've worked closely together, as I said, since 2017 when we were elected for neighbouring constituencies, and I'm absolutely committed to continuing the role that I've held as MP, MSP and party leader. I've done that for 3 years. I didn't expect to continue doing it, but given the circumstances, I think I've been able to prove that I can both represent an area in the UK Parliament and the Scottish Parliament. I think it's been helpful and useful at times to be able to do that, and I will continue to lead the Conservative Party here in Scotland. I think we can have a very good election. I think we are seeing voters uniting behind the Scottish Conservatives in key seats up and down the country, and they know that if they can unite behind the Scottish Conservatives, we can beat the SNP, get the focus away from their obsession of independence and back onto the issues that really matter. Paul.
Doesn't this return show that your heart is not at Holyrood anymore, if it ever was, and you've already given up the next Holyrood?
No, absolutely not. I think it's going to be crucial at the next Holyrood election that we hold seats in the North East and we gain. So the Banffshire and Bucking coastal seat is one that the SNP have got with a majority of just over 800 ahead of the Conservatives. If we can keep that area blue at the general election, if we can hold on to the new Aberdeenshire North and Moray East seat, then I think that gives us the best chance to beat the SNP in Banff and Bucking Coastal in 2026, and that will help us increase our numbers at that election, and that's absolutely what I'm determined to do. Justin.
Does this not just show that there's a local activist candidates to fight this seat? I mean, it's meant to be one of your strongest areas in the country, and yet it seems that you believe you're the only person who should take that on.
I think timing's crucial here. These are very unique circumstances. I didn't expect to be doing this. I didn't expect to be phoning my wife when she finished work at 10 o'clock last night to have a discussion about it, to have another discussion very early this morning about it. The fact that we are 24 hours out from nominations closing means that circumstances in this very particular case are different, and I think people will see and hopefully understand that. But what is crucial is this is a seat that the Scottish Conservatives have held now at the last 2 elections. With boundary changes, it's a seat that we can beat the SNP in again. There's no other party that can beat the SNP in Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. It is part of these key seats up and down the country where I think the Scottish Conservatives can have a good night by beating the SNP and getting the focus away from their obsession with independence, and that's what I intend to do as a local candidate.
Can I just check, was there anyone else who expressed an interest in running at all?
Nominations, I believe, are open until 11 a.m, so we'll find out at 11 a.m. if others have put their names forward. Dan.
There's a view of you as a House of Commons man, that you were sort of reluctant to stand down from Holyrood. How would you respond to that this looks like a stitch-up so you can stay in the House of Commons, especially given David clearly wanted to stand himself?
David's health is obviously of critical importance here, and I just want to make sure he can make a full recovery. Obviously, he's been through a significant health situation over recent weeks, and I just want to make sure he gets better. That's the key priority here for him and his family. I think I've shown that over the last 3 years I've been able to have that dual role in the Scottish Parliament and the UK Parliament. I've been able to make representations for constituents in both parliaments. It's not something that I've never done before. It's over 3 years now since I've been both an MP and an MSP. I think I've been able to show that being able to challenge both governments at times is useful for local constituents and nationally, and that's something I'm committed to continuing to do.
There's some local unhappiness with management board's decision. We've seen a couple of people resigning their membership. How are you going to get activists behind you when you feel that there has been a stitch-up?
I understand there will be concerns. that crucially, 4 weeks out from the election, this is a seat that we can win. We can beat the SNP, and I know from local activists I've spoken to already who've urged me to consider standing. They are absolutely determined to continue the work that David's done over the last years to make sure we continue to have a Conservative MP for that area, and to make sure we stand up for against the SNP, against their obsession with independence, and against the way they've forgotten about that part of the country. The SNP have ignored the north east of Scotland, and particularly that constituency, with some of the key infrastructure issues that we've seen there. Issues with the downgrading of local medical facilities. All of these points are crucial to voters on the doorstep, and will be issues that I'll be raising in the campaign, both locally but nationally, against the SNP. John.
Douglas, it's not just the rules in politics that people criticise you for, it's also that you do another thing in the football world as well. Are you going to keep that on too?
Yeah, people have criticised me for refereeing in the past. It's something that, it's sometimes a good distraction from politics for 90 minutes on a Saturday. And indeed, the last game I did was at Peterhead. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful in the playoff match against the Spartans. That might count against me on the doorstep. Anyone else?
Have you spoken to David personally?
Yeah, it's been difficult to speak to David because of his health issues. But I have been sending him messages and working with his team, because while I was still the MP for Moray as the neighbouring MP, I was helping his constituency team with some casework. Also, I was due to host an event for him in the House of Commons that he was unable to be the host of. So we have been trying to work together, but it has been difficult to physically speak to David. But members of the party did speak to David.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Okay.